Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus, and tonight I'm proud to bring you the Diana Montford Show, the one, the only Diana Montford. Greetings, Diane. How
Well,
are you?
hi there, everyone. I'm Diana Montford. Yes, the world's first transgender television talk show host. This is the podcast edition. And my guest is an amazing person. She is an Emmy-winning actress. You know her from playing Ray Woodard on Ryan's Hope, the daytime drama. She's done many, many other roles, but that's only the tip of the iceberg. She has written how many books?
7.
And I know people haven't read 7 books, but enough about the politicians. Anyway, and she is going to tell us about her fabulous new novel, which has a heavy metaphysical bent to it. And as you know, on the Hercules Station, we love metaphysics. And she's going to talk to us about her Substack column, which she does regularly, and how we can access it. And it's fascinating, and it has something for everyone. And here she is, the one, the only, the great Ms. Louise Schaefer. Hi.
Hi. Thank you, the great Diana Montford.
Well, thank you. And here we are in the great Hercules Station. So tell us.
Thank God we got on it. I was afraid it wouldn't happen. You know, I live with the conviction that all of this stuff is run by evil gremlins that really just want to destroy all of us. And if not destroy us, actually make us so crazed and gaslight us so much that we, can't function anymore. So I trying to get on it. It did something weird and didn't pick up all the numbers. So I was terrified that it wasn't even going to make it. And, all those years of theater training, the idea of actually being late for a curtain, it was...
Can you imagine?
Yeah, unbelievable. So anyway, thank God I'm here. I'm really pleased, Diana. I'm a very happy lady right now.
I'm so glad to hear it, because happy is good. So tell us about...
Yes.
Do you want to talk about your book or your Substack first?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about the book, because the Substack is a lot of fun for me, and you and I have talked about it. Basically, the Substack, okay, when I was a very young girl, way back in the Paleolithic age, because I am 84, I started reading funny stuff written by women. People like Ruth McKinney and, of course, the great Dorothy Parker and Emily Kimbrough, Cornelia Otis Skinner. I just stumbled on these kinds of books, of collections, of articles that these women had written for magazines. And there were very, very few of them who had actually done it, and they mostly wrote for women's magazines. But what they were
great in those days. They had articles by people like Eleanor Roosevelt. The women's magazines of the 50s and 60s were completely different from whatever magazines still exist today.
Exactly. And as I said, there weren't a lot of them, but these women were funny. I mean, as a kid, I remember reading this stuff and laughing out loud. And in my day, girls weren't really meant to be funny. I mean, you could be sort of self-deprecating humor, but you couldn't, to be funny because you were noticing the world around you and commenting on it and having a certain perspective for it, that really wasn't very feminine at all. So I kind of never really tried to write funny pieces, but it was always in the back of my head. And now, of course, it's very different. There are tons of female comedians, and I love watching their stand-up, and it's really nice. And so when I discovered that you could write little sort of almost magazine articles for Substack, but you could try to make them kind of funny if you wanted. I mean, do anything you wanted with them. I started the Substack, and it's been a lot of fun. It's really been it's been difficult because, as I said when we were talking about getting on the air here, getting on Substack is not the easiest thing in the world to do.
I've tried and tried, and I can't do it.
I know. I have a friend who says it's the work of Satan, which I think may be a little bit over the top, but not much, actually. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to start a newsletter, which I will just put out there. And anybody who wants to get the newsletter can get it just by going on my website, which is, it's just LouiseSchaefer.com. And you can just find the newsletter will be there. Right now, if you want to read my Substack, you just go to check out my Substack, which is on my website, and it will send you to my Substack. And you can read, what I have been told is actually kind of fun stuff. So that it's
I think I read one which you put on Facebook.
Yes. Well, see, you're like one of the people that hopefully when I just start putting my newsletter out, you can just read it that way, and you don't have to go. I mean, Substack is wonderful, and I'm real glad they decided to do it, but it does require a certain amount of technical facility, and for some of us, who are still trying to figure out how to do our healthcare portals, it's not a lot of fun. And the whole idea is for it to be fun. So
I agree. It's very difficult. I'm a boomer, and really all this computer stuff is just, what is this? I mean, I know.
So, and the problem is that it has kind of taken over some of the other ways that we used to get content. So we're kind of forced to know how to do it.
I remember the Mademoiselle guest editor contest and how they would publish people like Sylvia Plath, for example, and Jackie O when she was very young. And we no longer have that anymore. It just if you can't read or access your computer, you're in deep trouble.
Exactly. I've been taking computer classes with a young woman who I can't decide whether she deserves canonization or the Croix de Guerre, because she literally, oh God, the poor child. I mean, she's young enough to be my granddaughter, and she is so patient with me as I, keep saying things like, but why does this doohickey have to be pushed before this thingy over here? And she kind of, but it doesn't make any sense. And it's a whole new language also. That's the other thing that bothers me so much about it. It's sort of like, I remember when a dashboard was something in a car. Now,
I remember when Google was Barney Google with the googly eyes.
Yeah, I know. So you kind of have to, you're working in Chinese all the time, and that's not the most comfortable thing in the world. But anyway, the book, believe it or not, after all this time, and it took me 7 years to write this book. The book, I just finished my last pass at the manuscript. It's been formatted. There's some, we did the copy edit, so we have to see that all those notes are addressed. And then we go for a cover, which I want to talk to you about that cover as soon as you read it, because I'm still trying to decide which way to go on the cover. And then we are going to publish it, baby. So that's
Sounds
really,
great.
yeah, it's
You're with
really
Red Sky
exciting.
Publishing, I believe.
Yeah, with Red Sky. They're amazing. They're hybrid, which gives you, as an author, a lot of control, which you don't have when you go to a more traditional publishing route. But they do give you guidance because they are a full-on publishing house. And it's exciting for me because I've only done the traditional. And with the traditional, you just kind of get told what to do. And with this, you are really a partner. And I have some ideas about promotion, which I'm really excited about. I want to reach out to book clubs. And I have a lot of friends who are librarians, and I'm looking into ways to reaching out to book clubs. What I would love to do is, if a book club reads the book, then have a Zoom session with them to talk about the book. I really
that's a
like.
wonderful thing. Today you don't have to do book tours. Today you don't have to eat rubber chicken at a book club gathering.
Yes.
You just do it via Zoom.
Or drive through the night to get to the book club gathering, and, it's at the end of a cul-de-sac somewhere, 3 different
in the wilds
exits
of Connecticut or New Jersey, yes.
Exactly. Oh, God, some of the ways in which I would be getting so lost. And again, you have that, I have that kind of actor thing of, please, God, don't ever let me be 2 minutes late. And you're wandering around Garrison, Connecticut, trying to find the exit. So anyway, I get to do it in my own apartment with my pajama bottoms on and my feet in my little furry slippers. And
there you go.
Perfect. But it's really, and maybe this is the actor in me as opposed to the writer, I really love to know what people think, and I like the feeling of talking to people. I learn so much about what I do, what people like. Not that I write for that, but to understand what readers get. It's so interesting because you write something, you write it because, well, I guess not to be corny, but it's in your heart. And then it gets into your brain and you want to express it. So it doesn't come out of what does a reader want. It comes from your own wanting to do it. But I want to know how it lands. I want to know what resonated and what didn't. And it's really interesting to me. So my hope is that this is something that I will be able to really do a lot of, which is reaching out to book clubs, giving them the information. I will have to learn how to host a Zoom session, which should be a very difficult time for the kid who's trying to tutor me in how to handle computers. But I will learn it. I genuinely will learn it, and that's my big hope.
You have no choice. If you don't, you're not connecting with your readership.
You're not connecting with the world if you don't learn this stuff. I mean, there's just no way out. But anyway, the book started, basically it's an idea I've had since 1994. And I was working on another book, a little a little murder mystery, which was going to be a part of a series, and it was picked up by CBS. And then Les Moonves came in and put it into Turnaround, which I have never forgiven him for. But anyway, carrying on. When I was doing the research on that book, I found out that New York City does not retire badges or shields. In New York, it's called a shield. That does not retire a cop's shield when that cop retires. The cop turns the shield back in, and it is reassigned to a rookie who just comes on the surface, okay, it's just coming on the job. There are 2 times when a New York cop's shield is retired. One is if that cop is killed while working, killed on the job, in action. Mm-hmm. Then his or her shield is permanently retired. And the second is just if the shield gets too battered and starts looking scrungy, they'll retire it, and the same number will continue, but a new actual piece of hardware will be formed. And this is not, there's been, there are a lot of kind of TV procedurals where somebody carries their grandfather's shield, which in point of fact actually does happen. The department allows legacy cops to carry grandfathers and fathers and I guess now moms' shields.
I think that's great. Like you might be carrying a shield from 1905 because it was your grandfather's or your great-grandfather's.
Exactly. If the thing is in good shape, you can carry it for generations. And the department is very good about allowing cops to do that.
Change the design, or is it the same design throughout time?
Well, I don't know. That's a very good question. I think it obviously doesn't change if you're carrying your grandfather's, because you're actually carrying that piece of hardware. As I said, they're particularly the detective shields, they're plated and stuff flakes off and they don't look good.
My late boyfriend, as you know, had been a detective before he became a lawyer, and with the Brooklyn DA's office, this is long before I met him, and he still had his shield. I don't know if it was as a souvenir or something, but he did keep it. The actual physical shield.
Sometimes they allow you to have copies of it, as my understanding.
I think that was it. And more out of sentimental value than anything else.
Yeah, they don't, but the actual, my understanding as I was told about it is that these shields are simply being recycled as a kind of, economical thing. Why do a new shield? But you can request, and if they can accommodate you, they will accommodate you. You can.
Well, excuse me. Later, he became an assistant DA at the same office, so maybe that's why they let him keep it. Yeah.
Oh wow!
I'm very lucky to have this wonderful man in my life for 27 years. But anyway, so now. Your novel is about a ghost and a contemporary young woman, a male ghost and a contemporary young woman. Now, what happens between them?
Well, I can't do too much because spoiler alert. I don't want to tip the story. But anyway, when I was working on this other novel, I found out that these shields are recycled, and that is what triggered me to this particular story. One of them, there are 2 cops, as the cop says, the present day cop says, one of them has a pulse and one doesn't. And he she is carrying his shield. And
and he died decades earlier.
And she's carrying his shield, that was his shield back in the day. And I don't want to give away too much of the story. Okay. But just suffice it to say that he's back to solve a murder that he botched back in his day. And she and her partner recently cleared a case, but she's pretty sure that they botched it, but no one would listen to her. So these two people have some pretty heavy baggage. And he's back. And because not just because she's carrying his shield, he says she has to help him solve his case from way, way back in the 50s when he botched it, and then under very mysterious circumstances, not while working, which is why his shield was back in the pile, but I'm being very careful here, which is hard for me because I usually just spill, but his shield was recycled because he did not die on the job, but he had recently closed a case with his partner that he felt he botched. So that's his mission. And other things happen to the two of them as we go forward. But the fun of it, excuse me, for me, the challenge of it was in 1994, when I found out about New York City cops and their shields. And by the way, did your boyfriend ever talk about whether it was called a shield or a badge?
I think it was called a shield. I saw it once or twice. He kept it in his wallet as a souvenir, and and he liked his days as a detective. The Brooklyn DA's office had a wonderful program where they would help you register for law school. Now, my boyfriend would work all day as a detective in the drug enforcement unit and then go to law school at St. John's at night. He could not afford a car, so he had to go on his motorcycle in the rain and the snow, in the blazing.
Oh, my God.
Took him 4 years, but he became a lawyer, and he was an assistant DA and ADA for about 3 years. Then he started his own firm with a partner, and then he worked independently as a real estate lawyer, and he was exceedingly bright and very
must
nice.
Have been. Yeah.
But the thing is, he had a very strong New York accent, so people underestimated him. He got grown up in the Bronx, and he had he was very earthy seeming, and people he was Jewish, but he wanted to seem an Italian American gangster because he thought that was really cool. And people believed it, like they thought he was an Italian American. Friends of mine who had known him for years said, "What? He's not Italian." I said, "No, he's not. He's Jewish." No, but he was brilliant and a good man. And as I've said, I was very lucky to have him for 27 years.
I love him. Yeah.
Yeah, he died sadly of pancreatic cancer, which is not fun.
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
And yes, and your husband Roger also left us.
Yeah, I think you and I probably were going through it at about the same time.
Yeah. What did Roger leave us from?
I lost Raj in 2015.
I lost mine in 2020. So, what did Roger die of?
Roger was cancer, lung cancer. And, yeah, so you and I both understand that. We have a lot of things that we understand about each other. But when I heard about this, the shields and all of that, I thought it immediately came to me, the idea of somebody who had carried the shield and somebody was carrying it today and connections, but that's just the way my mind went. And I went home, and as I always did, after I learned this information, I knew some cops, and I learned about this, and I pitched the idea to Roger, and Roger said, "That's the best idea you've ever had. You need to write it."
Wow! And that's high praise indeed with your 7 books.
Well, I hadn't written 7 at that time. And I said, don't be ridiculous. There is no way this is about cops. I can't write about cops. I don't think like a cop. There's no way because for me, having come at writing as an actor, right? I really felt like I can't write a character if I can't figure out how to walk a mile in their shoes. That was always the way I was as an actor. I have to find a way to identify. And I mean, you know me, I am not a linear thinker. You and I will talk and we'll go I go all over everywhere. I'm pretty good about remembering where we started and eventually getting back to it. But, and I don't know. I mean, you actually lived with a cop. My experience was it's a very much more orderly kind of approach to life than mine. It's a lot more, I remember trying to talk to one detective about being, and I made the mistake of looking at the man, 62 years old, just basically going to be retiring soon, and I don't think he really wanted to, and sort of saying, asking, well, did you find the job fulfilling? And the guy Lester looked at me like I had 2 heads. And I said, well, what attracted you? He said, well, my dad was on it was all, I was asking all these kind of warm and fuzzy questions. And he was kind of like, don't be ridiculous. I'm getting my pension and I'm getting out. And, I got my boat down in Florida already. So I felt like I wasn't equipped with real integrity to write cops.
Well, it's the old saying, write what you know.
Yeah, and and it took me, so I kept saying, there's no way. And on top of that, there is the whole metaphysical thing in the book, and that's never been my genre, really. However, so over the years, every once in a while, and literally this started in 1994, Raj would say, so when are you going to start writing the book? And I would say, I told you, it's out of my wheelhouse. I am a professional. I know what I can and cannot do. That is part of being a professional. This is not something I can write. And then for a while, then I thought, okay, I could pitch it as a TV show. And
it would
somebody
be a
else
great TV show.
Yeah, somebody else could actually write it. And so I pitched it, and there was a lot of interest in it, but they wouldn't give me any kind of real credit for it because somebody else would be writing it and they would get the credit. And so my agent said the only way you're really going to be able to get any kind of credit or control or money is if it's intellectual property, which means you have to write it as books. So I said, well, no, I just can't do it. And there was one exchange over the years. Raj would bring it up, and he just would say, yeah, this book that you just wrote is a great book, and I'm glad you got good reviews on it. Now, when are you going to write that book? And I would say, this is just not what I do, and I know better than you. And then at the end, we had one exchange, which a friend heard. It was kind of funny. He said, so when are you going to start writing? And I said, no, I'm not ever. And he said, look, you come to the hospital with me all the time. I'm the one that's getting chemo. You're just sitting there hanging around. Bring your laptop and start writing the damn book. And
well, that's a good idea, yeah.
Actually, it was. But I just couldn't make myself do it. I was too scared of it, Diana. I didn't want to. I don't know why. I was just afraid of it. It was so different for me. And then after Raj died, I was, okay, what am I going to do next? And it was almost a kind of, well, maybe I'll prove you wrong, buddy. But I started working on it. And it really did take me 7 years to write it, mostly because I had to get past my own fear of not being able to do it well.
Well, as I've said in our private conversations, if Rick were still alive, my boyfriend, he could have told you instantly anything you wanted to know. You would never have to do all that complicated research. Well,
that would have been, yeah, that was the real thing. I mean, the write what you know, act what you can identify with. That's kind of the basis of, when you write something, and I don't mean to get all kind of heavy and blah, self-important about it, but I do think when you go into any kind of a creative endeavor, you have an obligation to try to do it with some kind of integrity. And that means knowing what you're talking about. And I really think you owe that to anybody that's going to plunk down, $20 or $15 or whatever it is for your book. You owe it to them that you've tried, that you're not just winging it off your imagination, but that you've backed it up with understanding the mind of your characters. And so I felt like I would be a fraud if I tried to write about cops because I didn't know anything about them. Mm-hmm. But I also felt like, yes, it's a story about cops, but it's also what it's really about for me is why do we fall in love with people? And
the ghost and the contemporary young woman in love?
Well,
don't want to say?
Yeah, I don't. But
okay.
I did. Well, I do kind of want to say, but I shouldn't say because I want people to read my book. But it became that for me. And I've always been somebody that loved procedurals. And writing a detective story, which this is too, that's kind of, again, it requires a kind of mind that I don't really have. But if I did talk to enough cops over the years that I got a sense of how they approach it and the kind of, how you dig in and where you start and where you go. But it takes time. It took me 7 years to write it. So I did it, and I'm real pleased that I did it. And I've got this publisher who is giving me a lot of leeway and a lot of freedom, which I really love. And now we just got to finish copy editing, formatting. It's now it's in the kind of rolling out stage. So
right,
yeah. So
and will this be sold in bookshops?
I think it's going to be mostly Amazon, or you get it from Red Sky. You
can order books at Barnes and Noble, and they will sign them for you.
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that. When I know more about exactly, we're not at the stage yet of putting it out. So I will get all the links and and please, you and I can talk again. I hope, please.
Oh, sure.
And I can tell people exactly how they can get the book. Right now, it's still in the stage of being processed, so I don't really have that kind of information. But yeah, I know it. I know that we'll be doing it through Amazon. I know we'll be doing it through Red Sky, and I've been through some friends talking to some little indie book stores, because I'd like to have one bookstore, and I've had this experience with other bookstores in the past. I'd like to have one bookstore that I could go into every once in a while, like maybe once a month, announce it to people. And if anybody wants to come in and talk to me and buy the book and have me sign it personally,
that's
not
wonderful.
just, that we can, if they want to buy it for a friend or something like that. So I'm talking to some little indie bookstores about that kind of a relationship, and I'll have that.
Yeah, well, also you can go to libraries. I have a friend who does poetry slams. She's a published poet, and Christine, I told you about her. She does at the Avon, Connecticut Public Library every month. She does a poetry slam where people, sort of like open mic night for poets, and she also does her own poetry. And a library would be thrilled to have you, discuss your book with interested people.
Well, that would be wonderful. And those are the kinds of things that between now and whenever we actually have a pub date, which I can announce, those are the kinds of things, Diana, that I'm trying to get in motion now. And the Avon.
Now, don't be disappointed if they come to see you as the famous actress and not as the author, and ask you a ton of questions about acting and your show and your career, because that is going to be the hook to get people in.
Babe, when I was touring with my other books, I brought my Emmy with me. My Emmy
very smart.
My Emmy had nothing to do. I wrote a Substack about it called The Curse of the Emmy, and I'm sitting right here.
That's the one I read. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm sitting right here next to my Emmy right now, which is completely broken and held together with a pink satin bow, and there's a story behind, as you well know, there's a story behind why my Emmy is broken and why I haven't gotten it fixed.
You've had three already, haven't you?
Yeah, I've had 3 different versions of this Emmy because each one got broken. The Substack piece is called "The Curse of the Emmy," and it's the story of how I won it and also what happened to it. But I took it on the road with me, and like I said, my Emmy had nothing to do with any of my books, but if you're Stephen King or you're Danielle Steele, you will have people lined up at your table when you do a signing in a bookstore. If you're Louise Schaefer, you won't. That will not happen because you don't have a huge following. But, so, they put you in they put you at a table in the store. This is, not a special, when you do a kind of a book signing where you're doing a reading and everybody's invited, then yes, you're going to get that. But sometimes they just stick you at a table in the store. There's a balloon above your head and, people walk by and they don't know who the hell you are. You may be selling lemonade as far as they're concerned, and they don't stop. But if you have an Emmy sitting on that table, they'll stop.
Oh, they'll stop it. They'll do a double take and run right over.
So I figured out after about, 2 book signings where I sat there for 3 hours and nobody showed up, and it was really depressing. I got to know the staff of the bookstore, but that was about it. I realized that I needed a gimmick, so I used to bring the Emmy along to book signings. And I would just stick it on the table, and people would come over, and I'm more than willing to talk about my career as an actress and then pivot to my book. I'm more than prepared to do that anytime. But yeah, I like talking to people, so
Yeah, I do too. That's part of a talk show. Yeah. So
yeah.
Now. There's a problem here, and here it is. A lot of young people are so used to reading little tiny blurbs on their computers or phones, and they don't have the attention span to read a novel.
Right.
What can be done about that?
Boy, that's something I don't know. I don't know what one does to, I think it has to start so young. I don't know about you, but my love of, I know your mom was an actress and mine wasn't, but she loved reading out loud to me, which she did. She would do that at night, and that was what got me started on thinking that reading was something I wanted to do because she made it so exciting and interesting to me.
My father would read aloud to me. He read me Huckleberry Finn and all sorts of things.
Yeah, Mama, Little Women, and all those kinds of things. I don't know what the answer is. I did a reading of a children's book a few months ago, and there was a woman there who has a program where she tries to engage kids in reading books. But it's a really hard slog because there's so much coming at kids now.
And also, our educational system in this country is really bad. Like, they can reach college and have the reading skills of a fifth grader. It's really horrifying. Whereas in other countries, they highlight education and they want people to learn to read and follow the plot of a novel. So we have a special problem in this country, and the anti-intellectualism of certain administrations.
Yes.
They encourage a lack of education. That is a problem.
And we've always had a sort of a suspicion in this country of kind of eggheads and intellectuals in general. I don't know what the solution is. My feeling is, for me, I think my books are complicated. My plots are complicated because, like I said, I'm not a linear thinker. And so I have to find my readers.
Well,
I've been
in conversation that if your heroine, now it's not a time travel story, but if she did go back to the 50s, she might want to stay there because people read, they thought it was a whole other world. You know that. So, yeah.
I know, but you and I have a slight difference of opinion on the 50s. Because
no, I do not like the racism, the homophobia, the transphobia, the misogyny. Right. I do not like those things. I love the fashions, though. They were built for people who like to eat, so whatever. But because everyone was pregnant, so yeah.
It was actually much better for women in a lot of ways. I have kind of mixed feelings about the 50s, as you know. I think the conformity of the 50s was difficult.
Well, certainly for little me, yeah, it certainly was.
Yes, darling, for you. I mean, I felt like I was a very different kid. I was unusual. I was a girl who didn't want, I did get married finally, but I was a girl who didn't want to get married, knew I would never be a homemaker, and didn't want to have children.
And an obviously intelligent girl. And everyone remembers the advice now, do not be too intelligent. Let the boy be more intelligent, or you'll never get a husband.
Don't argue, dear. It's unattractive. Do you remember that word? The unattractive word? Yeah, it's, don't, darling, you're being too, the big line for me. You're too opinionated, dear. It's unattractive. And that was code for keep your mouth shut or you'll never get a husband.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the Holy Grail was getting a husband.
Oh, God, yes, because there was no way he was going to take care of you. There was no way you were going to take care of yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
That wasn't going to happen. So for me, the 50s, I don't think any young woman today, I hate to disagree with you.
Oh, you're right. Yes, of course. They would hate that. Yes. You're right. I never thought of that.
They would be attracted to all the pretty parts. But once they understood the incredible limitations on girls and what girls could ask from life, and what girls were absolutely supposed to do and want, and you couldn't have any other thoughts, really. I don't think most young women today would accept that for more than about 2 seconds. I never
thought of that. And you are so... See, my family was very much like... my parents' marriage was like your parents, was like your marriage. My mother was the breadwinner, and you were the breadwinner in your marriage. So my take on the 50s might be different from most people's take on the 50s, because I remember my mother being, actually unfolding as a writer and doing very well, and then being a clever investor.
Yeah.
So life was good, So, but I know most women were not that. But her mother, my grandmother, was a feminist. So my mother grew up knowing she could do stuff like that, So
yes,
yeah.
And But I think certainly for me, in the 50s, and I had a very different experience of the 50s than you did. I did feel that as a girl who was saying clearly, and, a Catholic girl, an Italian Catholic girl, no, all those traditional feminine roles I reject. There wasn't any leeway for a girl like me to say, no, those are things I don't want for myself.
Well, they would have said,
That
oh, you're a
was my
natural.
experience.
What is wrong with you? How can you not want to cook and clean for your husband? How can you not
And
want
how
to
can
do
you-
that and have 5 kids? Oh, that's what they wanted women to do.
How on earth could you not want a bunch of children? And I have nothing but respect for people who do want to be parents, but I think it's very important for those of us who aren't suited to it to be aware of that and just not do it.
I couldn't agree more. And some women today can be child-free, whereas in the 50s, that would have been, you are insane. You need a psychiatrist. How can you not want to have children? What's wrong with you?
You're very disturbed. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're a very disturbed young woman. You're a very disturbed girl. You've obviously got real problems.
And they would have said, the top psychiatrist would have said that to a young woman's face. And I don't know, we're going to have long sessions to snap you out of this masculine protest and this penis envy of yours.
What is wrong with you? Why are you? Yeah, exactly. You were repeating it. So I think for me, the 50s was not the great time, but you and I have talked about this. There are things about the 50s that we both miss. I miss
like the great magazine articles, for example.
I need to reach
exactly
5-minute mark.
And I do miss people getting dressed up to go to the theater.
Oh, I miss. I can't. Today they go in T-shirts and ripped jeans, and they buy faded ripped jeans, faded and ripped right from the get-go. It's too weird,
Ladies,
and flip flops, and then they take them off and put their bare feet on the seat in front of them.
God.
Yeah.
I think Hercules wants to talk to us.
Yes, we're reaching the end of the show, so we have 4 minutes left.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
How can people contact you? We can talk forever, and we don't even realize the time.
Yes, I know. I completely forget where we are. People can contact me. The best way to contact me is to go on my website and take a look at the website, and then you can find my Substack there, and in a couple of weeks, you'll be able to find my newsletter. And when we have a date for the book, we will post that, and then we will post also all the ways in which people can buy the book and get in touch with me to do Zoom sessions about the book once you've bought it.
Absolutely. And Louise is a magnificent raconteuse. Not raconteur, raconteuse if it's a woman, damn it. But anyway,
whatever.
People don't know that. The illiteracy of our time. But anyhow, and she's great. And not only do you get an accomplished author, you also get a famous actress. So, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Anyway.
And on top of that, hopefully, I'll do the Diana Montford show again, and I can tell people how to get in touch with me.
You have an open invitation to come back whenever you want. And hopefully we'll be doing an episode
Thank you, darling.
In September, God willing. So
yes, we're talking about that already. Yes.
Anyway, I'm Diana Montford, and this has been the podcast version of the Diana Montford Show. It airs the third Saturday night of every month. And thank you, Hercules, brilliant entrepreneur who helps all of us to do our thing and talk about, we have total control over what we do. So Hercules is great. He gives us total leeway. And my guest has been, of course, the fabulous Ms. Louise Schaefer, Emmy-winning actress, brilliant author, and you will love her new book. And make sure you access her Substack. Love you, Louise. Love you, Hercules. I guess this is it.
And thank you both.
Bye, darling.
Bye.
We'll schedule it.
I'm sorry, what?
The show deserves a part 2, so we'll schedule it.
Sounds great. Well, hello. That works. Okay, so see you next time, folks. Bye.
Okay, darling. I'll call you in 2